Well, here we are. You join me on Suzuki's V-Strom 1050 XT. Which is their new-ish for 2020 adventure bike. New-ish because really it's more of an evolution of last year's V-Strom, the V-Strom 1000. So let's give you a little bit of a rundown of what it is. It's essentially a 1000cc V-twin adventure tourer. So I won't say 1000, it's not, it's like 1037 I think it is, 1037 cc's. It's a good engine, it's been around for quite a while. I think it first made an appearance in, say, probably something like the TL, Suzuki TL R and S, if you remember them. They were fun bikes. My brother-in-law had a TLR, tuned one, had loads done to it. It was quite quick, to be fair. Bit of a bust though. Made an appearance in the SV1000. That was a good bike as well. A friend of mine had one of those. Styling was a little bit middle of the road, but it was a good bike. He fell off the back of it trying to wheelie in front of us all one day. Never mind. And anyway, now it's in the V-Strom. And in this incarnation, it makes just shy, well, it makes 106 horsepower, I think, and just a sniff over 100 newton meters of torque, so the horsepower was a little bit up on last year. It's about, I don't know, it must be about, well, it made about 100 horsepower last year, so 6 horsepower more, and the torque is about the same, although they've shoved it up the rev range a bit more. So I think it made peak torque last year at about 6,000 RPM. Now it makes it about 8 or 8.5, something like that. So a couple of thousand RPM further up the rev range, which actually is the story about the whole story about the engine, really. They've messed about, Suzuki have messed about with cam timing and valve openings and all kinds of stuff to get a little bit more horsepower, and what they've done in doing so, they've shoved the power a bit further up the rev range, which is wicked. It makes it really good fun. So when you press on, shall we say, it's quite rewarding. Gearbox is pretty standard stuff. 6-speed gearbox, no blipper, no quick shift, nothing like that. Dead straightforward. Clutch has I mean, it's really light in operation. It's got some sort of assistance on it. It's really easy to use. Fly-by-wire throttle, which is really good. It's very smooth. I don't find it jerky at all. I find it very linear, very responsive actually. And I suppose that takes us into the electronics. So you've got all sorts of engine trickery going on. There's a massive amount of sensors and bits and pieces on here. You've got everything from crank sensors to wheel speed sensors, front and rear, gear position sensors, lean angle sensors, gyroscopic sensors, and all sorts of stuff that feed into this kind of, the brains of it, and then they feed out and affect the performance of things like the brakes and throttle and that kind of stuff. So it's very clever. Lots of technology. In addition to that, you have, well, think of it this way. It is a top level adventure bike. So you have everything you would expect pretty much to have on it. So as an example, you have 3 rider modes, 3 traction control modes, and 2 ABS modes. So all pretty good stuff. You can't turn the traction control off. So if you're a bit of an off-road fan, you might struggle a bit. Now I'm terrible off-road, so it doesn't bother me. And truthfully, although this is off-road capable, I mean it's an adventure bike, I do think that it is definitely road focused. It's more touring than it is adventure touring, if you like. So suspension, we have 43mm KYB forks, upside down forks, fully adjustable, and then a fully adjustable rear shock. And it's really good. Suspension's great on it. There's a remote preload adjuster just behind your left leg, which I found really easy to use. And you know, when you put a pillion on the back, you can just give it a couple of turns, firms things up a little bit. I firmed it up anyway from standard because I'm a bit of a porker. Oh, it goes really well. When you think it's only 106 brake horsepower, it's surprisingly quick, and it's got that nice top end rush on it. Let's just change down a little bit. So what we're at now, 5,000 revs. And there we go, 6.5. It really pulls. Nice. Brakes are excellent as well. Tokiko radially mounted calipers, and yeah, superb, really good. Loads of feel on it, loads of bite. So it comes as standard on Bridgestone, Battle Axe, Adventure, I don't know, A41s or something like that. 19 inch at the front, 17 at the rear, and 150 wide at the rear, 110 at the front. And they seem to grip really well. Weather's been quite patchy lately, but last week was absolutely glorious, and it's pretty much done everything I needed it to do. Get it leant over, plenty of grip. I've not felt it move around at all. Yeah, it pulls from nice down, and a really nice bit of torque. Pulls cleanly through the rev range. It's a little vibey down at the bottom, you know, like 2,000 revs ish, but then it's bound to, isn't it? Very nice thing to ride. So I really like the old V-Strom. And last year I remember I had the XT, the old V-Strom XT on test, which was great. And if I had one criticism, well, I had two I suppose. The styling was okay, but I think they've done a really good job styling this one. And also I think the other one, it only had, you know, 6 horsepower was all there was in terms of difference. But I found when you were 2 up, the other one felt like it was struggling a little bit more. Bit of luggage on it as well, and it felt like it was struggling a bit. This one, 2 up, we've had no issues. It goes really well. Ooh, bit narrow. It's really flickable as well. Surprising for a big bike. I mean, what we got, 247 kilos, so it's not small. Got a bit rough there. That weight, you don't really notice. I don't notice it all that much, honestly. I think once you're on the move anyway, it just disappears. And you know, the bike's quite agile, honestly, but pushing it around or turning it around in the road, you know, slow speed maneuvering, then yeah, you just got to be on your toes a bit. Plenty of back brake, that kind of stuff. Yeah, lovely. got an adjustable screen which is in its highest position, and the XT comes with wire wheels and adjustable seat height for one, which is quite interesting. Oh, I'll tell you what else it has. I almost forgot. Now, I'm quite new to this. I've never used it on a bike before, but it's got cruise control. It's quite funny. I've never used cruise control on a bike. Never felt like I needed it, but I do remember many years ago feeling the same about it on a car. Why would you want cruise control? But, you know, I use it all the time now. I wouldn't normally use it, you know, in situations like this, but these days when we sort of, you know, the motorways up and down the country, seems to be roadworks everywhere, and you have average speed cameras when there's not roadworks, and contraflows and all manner of stuff. It's actually quite a useful thing. You know, you get into a 50 or 60 mile an hour contraflow, all you need to do is press this button on the right lever, press the set button on the left lever, and that's it, it's done. And you can adjust it up or down in the left lever if you wanted to sneak up a couple of miles an hour or down or whatever, and then you just sit there and enjoy it, sit back. Oh, tank range, yeah. So we've got, I think it's a 20 litre tank on this. Nice big tank. And when I picked it up, it was full and showing a range of a bit over 200 miles. Used it, filled it up, and then it showed something ridiculous like 247 mile range when I first filled it up, which is not bad at all. Can't go wrong with that. Depends how you ride it. And I've got a bit less than half a tank now, and it's showing 99 miles. The styling's quite it's quite retro. It looks a bit like the old DR, you know, the old Dakar bikes from back in the day. I think they've quite intentionally styled it to mimic that, and done a great job in my opinion. More than a hint of retro, but I'll probably take it a bit further. I might even I've seen the odd custom one of these, like styling exercise, with some more knobbly tyres on, and it looks really good. Let's watch the guy pulling out. Lovely. It really is a nice bike. Drives out corners really nicely. Yeah, lovely thing. You don't feel the weight at all. And then, like I say, it turned in ever so well. Oh, look at this road, man. It's just so nice to be out on a bike again. It's really crappy winter. Then lockdown for, I don't know, seemed like forever. And we seem to be finally out of the apocalypse. And here we are. Oh, yeah, nice. It is lovely. Isn't this the best feeling in the world? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, love it. I like that punch that you get from a big V-twin. These brakes are excellent. Wow, really presses the front down. That roundabout can be a bit slippery in the wet. Oh yeah, that's really nice. I mean, 247 kilos, only 106 horsepower, but got a nice, nice bit of shove to it. So yeah, what do I think about V-Strom then? Well, I'll be honest, I've been a fan for a little while. I've always liked the V-Strom, well, at least the last couple of incarnations. And like I say, I took that 1000 XT round Bruntingthorpe last year. That was quite a surprise. Really good fun. Doing a track day in comfort, you can't go wrong with that. Scraping the pegs of a V-Strom. I would say I think it's a great bike, and is more of a road focused or road biased tourer than an off-road toy. Okay, there we go. So what do we think? I like it. I think it's a really nice looking bike. Bit dirty now, sorry. Particularly like it from this angle. Adjustable screen. Just flick that up. And that slides up and down. I guess it would be nice to do that on the bike, but it's no biggie, I suppose. Yeah, nice. Look at that exhaust though, eh? It's a big old thing. Yeah, nice. Anyway, let's get going.